Welcome everybody. We are so happy that you're here. There are over 125 people joining us on this call tonight. Pretty excited about that. So we're going to just take a little time, let everybody get settled in. This is a webinar format, and I'll explain what that means in a moment. But for now, you won't be on camera, which is good because hopefully you're eating Patatas Bravas and drinking your wine. So you can let us do some of the talking for a bit, and then at the end we're going to try to do a group toast if we can, if Zoom lets us. But for now, we're just so happy that you're here. My name's Erin. I'm the moderator for this session tonight. I'm with Obrigado. And we are going to just let the rest of you settle in. We've got Chef Katie Button and Felix Mayanya here. They are in their home kitchen, sharing their home with us. We've got Patrick Mata from Obrigado here. We've got some other Obrigado team like Lara Lopez Cano. We've got Yasmin Deaver. And last but not least, we've got Sam Chappell Sokol from World Central Kitchen. So we're just gonna give it a couple more minutes and then we will get started. We encourage the use of the chat box. If you are new to Zoom, I'm going to drop a chat right now so it pops up for you so you know how that works. We love and encourage questions. So if you're like, what's that sauce? What's happening right now? You can put that question in the chat and we're going to see it. And we'll be able to ask those questions on your behalf. This is going to be really fun. This is the very first food and wine pairing session hosted by Ole and Obrigado Experiences. So we're just thrilled that you're joining us. Thank you for being here. And we'll give it one more minute till 7 to 5 on the dot. I see we've got some of our Ole and Obrigado team cooking at home. Hi, Lisa. Hi, David.
Wait. I have a question. Katie, when was the last time you tried Patatas Bravas in your life? How old were you?
How old was I? The first time that I tried Patatas Bravas?
Yes.
Actually, it was probably
That was in DC.
It was probably in DC in Jaleo, and I was probably 23, 24. Yeah, 24 years old.
Felix remembers.
Yeah, I was in the U.S. working for Jose Andres at Jaleo in Washington, D.C. And then I went to Spain and ate them everywhere. So.
That's great. You went to El Bulli, no? After working for Jose Andres, no?
For Jose, and there was this little, tiny bar kind of nearby in downtown Rosas that I used to go and get a plate of bravas and some anchovy stuffed olive and a beer, amores, and like that was my like day off, like time to spend and enjoy. Yeah, that was at what it used to be called? Is it Poca?
Pica Pica.
No, not Pica Pica. The place, the little bar that's right there. Poca de Crec.
Poco de Crec.
Yeah.
Poco de Crec.
Yeah.
La Plaza San Pedro.
Yeah. Poca de Crec.
What's
the name of the bar?
If you ask me, Patrick, I will don't remember the first time I had Brava, but I will remember, where I had the much or the more fun eating Brava, and that would be Madrid.
I know what you're talking about, Felix.
I remember, being 18, 19, and going out.
6 a.m., no?
Yeah, it
All
was.
night, you're very hungry, no?
There we go, And they have these bars, where they've been serving food and bravas, and you see all these people just eating the boring of these Patatas Bravas, it was just perfect. You were actually looking for it, like to be the perfect end of the night.
I thought that the ones at in Girona
La Plaza del Vi.
Yeah, La Plaza del Vi were like some of the best that I've had. They're a little bit, I don't know, different than the normal street food version.
It's a Catalan sommelier, Roger Viusa, that he owns that place in Girona, in La Plaza del Vi, and they have these beautiful tapas, and the bravas there were.
They were amazing.
Yeah, they were. That's the coolest thing about the bravas, it's not.
Don't do too much. We're not.
Yeah. Okay. I will deserve something later. Yeah.
So this would be a great time to just make our final introductions, but we totally want to get started. So thanks again, everyone, for joining. We're going to have a couple fun polls that will pop up during this session, so you can weigh in on your favorites. Tell us what you think is best. But first and foremost, we just want to introduce ourselves. So I'm Erin Drain from Obrigado Imports with Patrick Mata, who's the founder and who's going to be talking wine with us. We've got a lot of our team on tonight, including Lara Lopezcano and Yasmin Deaver, who's going to tell us about some cool stuff later. We are an importer of artisanal Spanish and Portuguese wines, and we just celebrated our 21st birthday. So we're really excited to be drinking wine tonight for many reasons, especially with Chef Katie and everyone, and with World Central Kitchen. So we are going to talk a little bit about what your ticket is supporting with Sam from World Central Kitchen. So he's going to tell us about some work that's going on, and then we are going to hand it over to Chef. And you're going to see that her video camera, her screen's going to get just a little bit larger. We want you to be able to see all the action and what's going on in the kitchen. So that's going to pop up. Then we can return to gallery view. So without any further ado, I would just like Patrick to tell a little bit more about Obrigado, and then we'll hand it to Sam. Patrick, you're still on mute.
I'm very grateful to be here on this first episode of pairing wine with food. This is one of my greatest loves, and I always wanted to help people experience the magic of a great pairing. And when we started thinking about this, we thought that the best people to partner with for the first episode will be Katie and Felix. They own one of the best Spanish restaurants that I know in America, and they're incredible people. They also publish a wonderful book called Curate, Authentic Spanish Food, which is where I learned how to make this recipe of patatas bravas. And, you know, I've been living in Spain for many years, and then I came over to this country when I was in college, but I learned to make patatas bravas through Katie, and I thought that no one better than her to help us understand how to do this. And we tasted like 15 different wines to see which wine will go best with patatas bravas, and we've chose 3 wines. Many of you have purchased or have some of these wines, and I'm looking forward to discussing what each wine brings to the table, and yes, I'm very excited to be here with all of you.
Thanks, Patrick. So as most of you are aware, our new Food and Wine Pairing series is a monthly series that benefits a different nonprofit every month. And we're so pleased that our very first one is starting off in conjunction with World Central Kitchen. And so we've got Sam here, who's going to talk to you a little bit about what World Central Kitchen does, in case you're not familiar yet, so that you know what your ticket has supported. And we want to also thank all of you. You're so generous for your donation, and tell you a little bit about what you're supporting is Sam. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin, and thank you, all of you. Thank you all so much for supporting our work. Ole and Obrigado, you guys have been a huge supporter of us through Liquid Geography and through now this event. And hopefully you're all drinking some Liquid Geography right now and support. Yeah, there you go. So a little bit of background about us. On the high level, we're a nonprofit that we use the power of food to heal communities and strengthen economies in times of crisis and beyond. We like to say we're kind of a chef-led food relief organization, founded originally 10 years ago by obviously the Spanish chef Jose Andres, who's the chef behind Think Food Group and restaurants like Jaleo. Also the first place I had Patatas Bravas, probably when I was 23 or 24. He also has Minibar, The Bazaar, all sorts of wonderful classics around the country. So Chef Katie and Felix, you guys, I think, met at Think Food Group. So, you know, you guys are legends around those parts. I worked with Jose since 2017, first on the restaurant side for 3 years, and helped launch the Mercado Little Spain. If any of you are in New York, kind of a cool place to taste Spanish foods. And now I'm at World Central Kitchen as the editorial director. I've seen this organization grow from a really small development organization. So we were working in Haiti doing clean cooking projects, doing some work with a bakery and orphanage in Haiti. And in 2017, when Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico, Jose got on a plane 3 days after and just started cooking. And over the course of the next 5 months, he ended up making with a huge team of Puerto Rican chefs, as well as, I'm filling out the survey right now, Puerto Rican chefs, as well as 20,000 volunteers from the island. They made 3.7 million meals and really helped that island rebuild itself over the next few months. So since then, we've served almost 45 million meals during and after disasters in 15 countries on 6 continents. We've responded to wildfires, earthquakes, hurricanes, political unrest. We were just in Beirut after the explosion that rocked that city, and now we've responded to a global pandemic. So throughout COVID, we've been on the ground in 35 states around the country, as well as in Spain. Jose led a big operation in Spain. We've been in Indonesia, the Dominican Republic. The majority of our work has been called a program we called Restaurants for the People. We know that the restaurant industry was incredibly hard hit by the shutdowns and everything that's going on. And we also know that so many people around the country are facing economic insecurity, job loss, threats to their livelihoods. So the idea was to kind of combine those two things. So we've been supporting restaurants through our work and encouraging them to cook for their neighbors. So since March, we've put something like $115 million into 2,500 restaurants around the country. So it's been a huge accomplishment, but there's still so much more to do. Most of our work has wound down to this point, our COVID work, but we also have been responding to wildfires and hurricanes. We've been up and down the coast, the West Coast, over the past couple of months, California wildfires and Oregon wildfires, and we've been on the Gulf Coast responding to hurricanes. So that's kind of where we are today, and looking to the future as one of the bright lights in the next couple of months, hopefully bright lights, we'll see, is that we're planning a big response on election day, because we know that voting can sometimes be a challenge, that long lines can get in the way, and that some people, you have to leave work during lunch hour or before or after work that are prime meal time. So we're going to try to be as many places as we can. Jose announced this initiative yesterday, so we're all really excited about it. We don't exactly know where we'll be yet. One of World Central Kitchen's founding statements is that we don't plan, we adapt. So we are consistently and constantly adapting to the circumstances that we see. So I think Aaron can share the link, chefsforthepolls.org, also World Central Kitchen or WCK.org if you want to learn more about our work. And I'll be here drinking some manzanilla for the next hour or so and learning about Patatas Bravas, and I'll probably be making some of those later on myself. So thank you all so much for the work, for supporting our work, and for having me today.
Thank you, Sam. Well, we should learn about this dish, Patatas Bravas, what it's all about, where it's from, what we love about it, and how to make it, most importantly. So we're going to take some time and hang out in the kitchen, and I'm going to just spotlight that video so we can all see a little bit better. And then at the tail end of this demo that we're about to get, we're going to let Patrick and Felix get into the wine talk. So send your questions, ask your questions. Just looking at this chat, a lot of you have made this dish or you have it in the oven right now. So we'd love to hear if you prepared it, how it's going, how it turned out. Even if it didn't turn out well, maybe we can help you for the next time. So we're gonna get started with the food part.
All right. Great. Thank you. Hey, everybody. So yes, we are preparing Patatas Bravas today, and to talk a little bit about it, I mean, I talked a little bit about it in the beginning, but it's, I don't know, when I think of Spain and one of my most favorite dishes from my time there, it definitely has to be enjoying Patatas Bravas. It's like the French fries of Spain. I don't know, fried potatoes with a spicy kind of tomato-based sauce and alioli, and is my favorite way to prepare it. In the restaurant, we actually make patatas bravas. We kind of do crazy things with the potatoes to get that perfect potato. So we brine them and then cook them in their brine, and then after we cook them in their brine, we fry them at a low temperature, then we freeze them, then we hold them frozen, and then we deep fry them from frozen at a high temperature. You end up with this like perfect crispy crust and creamy kind of salty interior, and they're the perfect potato. But at home, I would never in my life follow that many steps to cook potatoes. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna roast them, which basically means that we're going to peel the potatoes, cut it up, and then put it on a sheet, toss them in a little oil and salt, and put them on a sheet pan. And when you're, basically, you know, I have in the instructions, if you read the recipe, preheating the pan, and that's if you're not gonna line it with, you could get away with not doing that if you lined the pan with parchment paper. So if you just put parchment paper on, then you could like toss potatoes in oil and salt and throw them on a sheet pan, and not worry about preheating the pan. But you preheat the pan if you're gonna throw them on just straight on the pan, because it keeps them from sticking. And I think gets them browner and crispier. I think I can tell a difference from when I cook potatoes on parchment paper than when I cook them like straight on the pan. I don't think they're quite as good when they're cooked on parchment. I don't know why. Maybe like the hot pan and the oil kind of like fries them and gets them extra crispy. But anyway, either way, they'll still be delicious. And then I'm gonna show you part of making the brava sauce, and we'll talk about alioli as well. So for the potatoes, I just peeled it, and then I'm gonna cut it into kind of 3/4 inch cubes. Slipped away from me. Okay. So we're just gonna cut these up. I'm just kind of eyeballing this. I actually think I cut them like a little bit smaller than I normally would, but they're good. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you're just gonna roast them till they're super tender and soft on the inside. So I'm just gonna show you cutting one, and we're gonna throw it in the oven.
Chef Katie, do you have a second, like if, you know, sometimes people find themselves without one type of potato, and we've got actually someone who's on making a sweet potato version, white and orange.
Ooh,
Do you have any other twists that you like?
I like just like a classic russet potato for these. I think that they cook up kind of that crispy, creamy, but you could do a gold potato. Sweet potatoes, I would be really curious to find out how they turned out. I'm sure they'll be tasty, but
I may change the sauce.
you might change the sauce. I think they could be good, for sure. I think that's interesting. I love that somebody's trying that out. So tell me how it turns out. We're just gonna put some salt on the potatoes and oil, toss them, and throw them in the oven. And again, you have to be careful because this pan now is like ripping hot if you do it this way. And it's going to help them from sticking. We're going to pop those in, set that aside. Okay, so making the sauce. So the brava sauce is, so lots of times in Spain you'll get like what they call brava sauce, and it's kind of like alioli and then the brava sauce mixed together, or you can buy it in the grocery store like that in like a container. But the brava sauce is actually just the tomato-based sauce, and we're gonna put a little bit of oil. I'm gonna show you the first few steps of it, and then the final product. A little bit of oil in our pan. I've got some minced garlic and a cut up arbol chili. You can find those sometimes in the grocery store. or at, I actually in Asheville find the Arbol chilies at the Mexican food like specialty shops. So they have a lot of dry peppers and things there, so you can find them. You can substitute like crushed red pepper flake, which I know it says in the recipe. So we're just gonna put the garlic and the pepper in with that oil. And I'm using like a blended oil, but that's, which is basically just like a high temp oil mixed with olive oil, but you could use, in this, because you're not frying anything, you could use olive oil. That would be fine too. With the potatoes, you definitely want to use an oil that's not going to burn at a low temperature. So I would not recommend olive oil. I would use, you know, a non-GMO canola or expeller pressed canola or safflower oil or peanut oil or something like that in the potatoes. Okay, we're just putting the garlic in there until it is fragrant. Then I'm gonna add the tomato paste and a little bit of sherry vinegar. And this sauce, when it's cooked, ends up being kind of sweet, kind of spicy, but delicious. You can smell right now the vinegar evaporating and the flavor of the garlic and the pepper and the tomato paste cooking.
You add some sugar, no? The sugar offsets, no? Some of the heat, right? From the
Yeah,
sauce.
we're gonna add a little bit of sugar. It's also gonna help those tomatoes get a little bit sweeter faster. I know that like the classic way would be just to take more tomatoes and cook it down for a really, really, really long time, and then they get sweeter and sweeter. But if we want this to be done in like 30 minutes and not, I don't know, now like 30 minutes.
I had the 3 wines behind me, and just getting the smell of this, it made me reach for the rosé actually.
It smells
I love
spicy.
the rosé.
You're reaching for the rosé.
Yeah.
Ooh, can I have a sip of the rosé?
I like the rosé. To me, the sweet, there is a hint of sweetness on the rosé that, you know, works really well with the spicy notes of the pepper.
Nice. So this is great. So right now, basically the vinegar has cooked, has evaporated, and the tomato paste is just starting to caramelize, brown a little bit. It doesn't say that in the recipe instructions, you know, as I was reading, but if you want to spend a little bit more time and let that brown a little bit the next time you make it, like that browning flavor always adds more flavor to things. So that's what I would do. If I was going to make this cookbook, it's like 2.0, but you guys now get the inside scoop. I would add the step of cooking the tomato paste and this garlic together until it caramelizes and browns a little bit. So we may as well do that together. So I'm gonna cook it a little further and let it just go a little longer before.
When did you publish this book for the first time, Katie? When did you publish the book for the first time?
The book was published in 2016, so 4 years ago. And one thing I love about cookbooks is that, I mean, they're like a timestamp, you know, that, I mean, they're this amazing moment in our life and our career and like everything we were working on at that time. And so it's fun to go back and look at that and learn about it. And here, I'll just show this to you. So it's kind of starting to brown on the bottom of the pan. I don't know if you can see that.
We need smell-o-vision on Zoom.
Yeah.
I'll make the suggestion.
It smells so good.
It smells so good. So now we're gonna add that little bit of, we're gonna add some crushed tomato and a little bit of that sugar.
I have a question about the tomatoes. Actually, the recipe calls for 3/4 of a can of tomatoes. How big of a can is a question we just got? 13 ounces, 15 ounces usually?
It calls for 3/4 of a cup.
There you go, 3/4 of a cup. Thank you.
Yes. So now we are going to just let that reduce and simmer on low heat for 30 minutes. And that 30-minute time frame, so it's really like, you want it to just be barely bubbling. I mean, bubbling, simmering a little bit all over. And occasionally you're gonna wanna stir it to make sure it's not sticking. But at this point, the sauce is, you know, almost done. After the 30 minutes have gone by, you'll notice that it'll change in kind of flavor and color, and you'll add your salt, and you can add more to taste. I put a measurement in the recipe, but I would taste it or less. I mean, it really depends on the kind of salt that you're using. I use Diamond Crystal kosher salt, which tends to be less salty than other salts. So, you know, you might need to adjust up or down depending on that, and a little bit of smoked pimenton or Spanish paprika. And that's really it. Then you're gonna blend it up, and the sauce for the Brava sauce will be done. And when it's done, it'll look, here we have this like swap out thing. It'll look something like this. See? Ta-da, we're done.
I made that.
So seamless, so seamless. Unbelievable.
So simple. It's done in like seconds. So, and then, you know, the other dish that you need to make to go along with this is alioli. And to talk about that for just a minute, so alioli, if you break it down into like the Catalan words, it's aioli. I is garlic, E is and oli is oil. And originally, it's an emulsification of just garlic and oil. And it would be done in a mortar, with a mortar and pestle. I am not going to demo this for you. So you're gonna have to maybe try that one on your own. Basically, the technique, so I hear, is you put the garlic in with the mortar and pestle and salt, and you work that until it like becomes a puree. And then you slowly, slowly add drop by drop oil, olive oil into it until you make an emulsification with only garlic and oil, which for me blows my mind because it doesn't use any eggs. And of course now in our like lives of speed and, you know, I mean, we're juggling like businesses and kids. I mean, there is no way I have time to like emulsify, but you can, I mean, you go to Spain and you see people who make it the authentic way, you can tell, you can see the difference. It's like a little bit more like thicker, coagulated or whatever.
More yellowish,
yeah, it's more yellow and it's delicious.
Unfortunately, there are not that many places that are doing it anymore either. You know, it's like, there are a few, but it's hard to find them.
It's, I mean, you know, to get garlic to emulsify with only oil, I mean, you really have to go slow. So what we do now is just, we incorporate like a garlic, some salt, and the recipe that I put, it calls for a touch of lemon juice, not much, but a teeny bit, although that's not really traditional, but I like it just a little bit, but I'll just go ahead and say that's not traditional. And I throw it in a blender or a food processor, the garlic and the salt and eggs, and then get that to blend. And you want to blend that up with eggs like really, really well so that the garlic is completely kind of pureed, the work that you would do by hand with the mortar and pestle. And then you're going to add your oil really slowly. And it's important that you add the oil slowly. The slower you add it, the thicker your final product will actually end up being. So it's interesting, the speed that you add the oil in your food processor really affects the finished product. So go slow, painfully slow.
We have a couple questions, if you don't mind, real quick. So we did have a question about the thickness of the sauce. So I think you're covering that and the speed of the oil introduction and how that would affect.
The alioli or the Brava sauce? Was the question about Brava sauce thickness or the alioli?
Well, you did show us the Brava sauce, so I'm hoping it was about that and that we answered it. So I'm going to mark it as answered. We did also have a comment that someone made the traditional Catalan alioli with just the garlic, oil, and lemon juice. Rona, you are so brave. That's amazing. Good for you.
How long did it take? I'll ask a question back.
How long did it take? Drop it in the chat box. And then we also had a question about the oil in the recipe calling for blended oil. Do you have a preferred ratio that you like with that?
So I use like, it's like a blend of like, it's 50-50. of mild of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and then 50% of like a mild oil, again, a safflower oil or, you know, expeller pressed canola oil or something like that. But, and the reason is because I don't like, I want to make sure that I don't end up with something that's too bitter, you know, and I think that some of the oils that you can find here in the US, extra virgin olive oil in particular, can be pretty strong and therefore end up making your final like alioli a little bit pungent or bitter or sharp. And so I do cut it here, but the best thing to do would be to find a mild olive oil, you know, and one that doesn't have a lot of bitterness, and use that, and that will help.
Someone was asking also about your range and what you've got going on there with your, what kind that is.
Yeah, it's a GE profile. What is this? It's an induction range, and you know, I really like it. I like induction. I don't have gas here at my house, so you know, I do think when choosing between, like, if you can't have gas, if you can't have a gas range, induction is definitely my favorite. Like, I would prefer, I think, a gas range if I could do it, or actually in my ideal world, I would have both, because on the induction burners, you can boil water really, really fast. And they're also, they cook super even. And so like if you're making caramel or something like that, an induction burner works really, really well for those kinds of like precise pastry type things. But I think that like when I'm searing a steak, it works great on this, but when I'm searing a steak, I do like gas a little bit better because you can really control the heat, and it's very visual, you know, so you know like how hot and how you can like adjust it with your eyes, you know. I mean, it doesn't change when I look at it. I haven't gotten that good with my range.
I have a question about the Bravas sauce. If for some reason it's too liquid, will you add a little bit of olive oil to make it more emulsionated, or will you do that, or not really? Make it more thick? If
it turns out too liquidy?
Yes.
I might actually put it in a sauce pot and reduce it down a little bit. You know, I mean, maybe you could do it with the olive oil. I don't know, but I would like cook it, I think, a little bit.
More, no? To reduce it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just show these two things. So we have our potatoes that are done over here, and I'll plate these up right now just to show you.
That's the alioli.
It's great. Looks fantastic.
If I was going to,
And the tomato sauce again.
if I was gonna plate this, like I would put it in a wide bowl and the potatoes, you can probably see that. And then kind of like pretending that you're, I don't know.
You're an artist?
Jackson Pollock,
yeah.
Totally. You know? Like, just like, go for it. Okay, I used to be better at this. The picture in the cookbook looks more artistic than what I'm doing right now. This is more,
You're doing great.
You're doing all right. Okay.
We do have another question. People worry about struggling, you know, to keep their emulsions from breaking. If you have any other tips quickly, and then.
Okay, if you break your alioli, right? Like that's probably the question. Like, what do you do if you break it? I will tell you how to fix a broken mayonnaise. So you're making mayonnaise at home and you break it. All you do is pretend that that new broken sauce is now your oil. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna pour it, you're gonna pour that broken mess. There's my bravas, they look really good. Just because there's no right way to throw sauce and splash it around. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna pour that broken sauce mess into kind of a container with a spout. I don't know, I have like these little measuring containers, liquid measuring cups with a spout. I would pour it in that. I would get a new egg. I would get another egg. and I would throw that egg in the blender or food processor, get it blending, and then slowly add your broken sauce very slowly to that new egg, just like you were adding oil the first time. That'll fix it. It'll like come back together.
That's a great trick.
That's a great trick.
I like that. That happens to me all the time. So thank
Now
you so much.
you'll never throw it out and start again.
So
This is so
we're curious about the wine pairings. You've got your complete Patatas Bravas. They're all sauced up. We want to hear what you think about these wines with the dish. Patrick and Felix.
Tomato first.
Felix took some liberties. He garnished with a little bit of pimenton also, just so you know.
See, that looks beautiful, no? When you put the pimenton on top,
Yeah.
I like that. Sometimes I add also a little bit of salt. Makes it pop more.
These definitely.
I also cook the patatas. There are like 43% of the people watching have cooked the patatas bravas. It's amazing, no? How many people?
Yeah, I just put a little extra salt.
So before we get into the wine pairing, so that the Patatas Bravas are originally from Madrid. So that's where we heard or we know that this was created. But is the most, I think, the most international dishes in Spain are the paella and the tortilla de patatas, the Spanish omelette. But I can say that the Bravas probably is the most iconic dish as a tapas bar. You know, and that could be Madrid, that could be Sevilla, that could be Barcelona, and everywhere you are, they will be the same way that they cook the potatoes, but the sauce will be different. For example, in Madrid, they use the tomato spicy sauce, and Barcelona, they do the tomato sauce with alioli. There are other places that they only do alioli. There are other places that they mix it up together and it becomes like a salsa rosa. So they're like you will find different versions of the patatas bravas, but in the end, you know what I mean? It's like probably along the gambas al ajillo, one of the most spicy dishes in Spain, because we don't have that many spicy dishes in Spain. So this is probably our most spicy, right? Yeah. We all go to our restaurant all the time, like you have a spicy sauce, and what we do is like we bring the tomato sauce to the table. This is the most spicy item that we have in the restaurant.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I want to talk about the wines.
Yeah, let's go with the wines, yeah.
While you do that, I'm gonna put it back in gallery view so we can see everyone a little bit closer. It looks like about almost 80% of people on the call have been to Spain. So this must be bringing back some good memories for them. So thank you for that incredible demo. I'm really hungry.
This is like being in Spain. Yeah? This is like being in Spain, Katie. Thank you so much.
We're selling the salsa brava, you know, we will be selling it online soon.
Yeah, we're selling them at the bodega right now, La Bodega by Curate. So after you've watched all this, if you actually don't really want to cook it, you can just come to Asheville and buy it, and pretty soon you can have it shipped to your doorstep. So just saying.
Do you ship all over the country the Brava sauce?
Almost. We're 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we will be.
Do you ship to New York?
Yes, we will. Yes, food will be shipping everywhere.
Yeah, wine is a different story. We just launched our wine club yesterday, and we're really excited about that too. We already have like 30 members. So we're like definitely, it was something that I was talking with Patrick, you know, for a year, you know, that was one of my dreams, you know, and now all this pandemic is making us very, you know, be creative and look for other opportunities to bring revenue. So yeah, we're working on all these things, you know, to be connected to Spain, the wine and the food. So here we have your wines, Patrick. So tell us a little bit more about what you decide this drink.
So so we have 3 wines, right? We have an Alvarinho. This one is actually from Portugal. We wanted to show this wine because it's so well distributed around the country, and we wanted to run an episode that everyone could experience and people could participate with the wines. And since Nortico was it's so well distributed, we chose this as one of the wines. And Alvarinho is such a classic, you know, Iberian grape. And I really like how the Alvarinho works, because this Alvarinho is salty, and it has, you know, Alvarinho goes great with seafood, with oysters, with sushi. It's always, you know, super super good with crudo dishes, but the salty element really works with the saltiness of the dish. You know? And it's also very refreshing, very bright. It cleans your palate, and I really personally like how Alvarinho plays with this dish. It emphasizes to me more the salty aspect of the dish, and it's also a cleanser. No, it's like when you have sushi and then you eat a little bit of ginger to move on to another type of sushi, so that your palate is totally clean and fresh. So that to me is a little bit what Nortico Alvarinho, no, does.
I think it makes the like pimenton pop. You know, I don't know why. When I took a sip, I like maybe because we also garnished it, but it paired really well with the pimenton.
Let me see this. I'm gonna try myself.
What I'm seeing and what I'm tasting is like it's sitting very well with the sauce, because in general with both, with alioli and with the tomato sauce. Because my first impression was like an Alvarinho from Portugal. I was trying to think so nothing too much about Galicia, no, more about Portugal. And this one, I think that it has a little bit more, I found more body than the Alvarinhos that you normally find in Galicia.
True.
I think it's sitting very well with the sauce, right?
Mm-hmm. Also, it offsets the heat of the Brava sauce. This wine is not sweet, but when you have it with the Brava sauce, it comes across as slightly sweet, offsetting the heat, which is super nice. You know, you have a little bit of heat, a little bit of sweetness, and this interplay, it's very interesting. So
very nice one. Yeah, good job, Patrick.
And then we have, and you know, Alvarinho is such a classic Iberian grape, no? And it's not only great with Patatas Bravas, but so many other dishes, no? That I like to see how Alvarinho is becoming more and more popular in the US. It's becoming a grape that actually a lot of people in the US are planting. I'm planning a trip next month to the Finger Lakes in New York. There are four producers growing Alvarinho in the Finger Lakes.
I heard about it. Yeah, that's amazing. I love it.
I love that.
And there are like 6 producers in Oregon producing Alvarinho. There are like 3 or 4 producers in Napa Valley. There is one producer here in Long Island in the North Fork producing Alvarinho. So it's becoming a grape that America is embracing, not only by making Alvarinho wines in the US, but also you see more and more Alvarinhos from Spain and Portugal in the US, which is a wonderful thing, no? To see how Americans, no, are expanding, no, their universe in terms of other grapes and specifically Alvarinho.
I know we're talking about Bravas, but another dish that comes to my mind now that I'm doing this pairing is the pulpo a la gallega, because you have the octopus that goes very well with Alvarinho, then you have the potatoes, and then you have the pimenton. So that you have, and the salt. So it's like it's another dish that will be, you know, a perfect pairing with this one as well.
And that's so easy to make, yeah? The pulpo a feira, no? They call it pulpo a feira, no? That preparation. And then we can, if you like, talk about the next wine, liquid geography. I mean, this is a wonderful wine, no? That we started importing into the US in 2013. And since 2013, we have donated over $300,000 to charity. 100% of the profits go to charity. And one of the charities that we're supporting this year through Liquid Geography is the World Central Kitchen. And yeah, this is, you know, a wonderful wine that gives back, that not only helps, you know, the farmers that we represent in Spain, but also gives back to important causes, no, that are important to the world, no? And one of them being SAM, you know, the World Central Kitchen. We're so proud to be able to support the work you do, and especially in these moments of the pandemic, no, when so many people have been, you know, going through a difficult time, and this wine has brought a lot of hope to the people in our company, to so many people, no? And Yeah, cheers to that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, liquid geography is made with, there are actually two liquid geography rosé wines. Both of them donate to charity and both of them donate to World Central Kitchen. One is made with Mencia, which is the one that most people have here today, and the other one is made with Garnacha. And the Mencia, which is the one I have on my glass, it's lots of strawberries. There's a hint of sweetness, but it's dry. I like how the sweetness offsets the spice of the Brava sauce. That to me is what really stands out here. I don't know what your impressions are, Felix.
Say again?
Your impressions, no, about liquid geography.
So we were talking about before the Albarino was selling well with the sauce in general. The rosé is bringing me the pimentón and also the fried aspect of the potato. You know, I think these two things are what are bringing, you know, the dish. It's elevating the dish, you know, like with the rosé right now.
I also like the texture of this rosé. It has a little bit more texture, more body, which also complements the texture of the potatoes, the creaminess. It's a really good equilibrium and balance of texture, no, between these two flavors. Mm. I like that a lot. Mm.
So we've had a few questions. I'm just going to hop in real quick on asking to show the label of the wine bottle. Patrick, if you would show the Nortico and the liquid geography bottle so people can see.
I'm gonna get it. It's in the kitchen. I'll be right back.
In the meantime, I wanted to thank everybody who commented that they've been to the bodega and I've been cooking from the cookbook, and just, you know, thank you very much. It means a lot to us. So yeah, I appreciate it.
And you were saying the Bravas is one of your favorites, but actually it's been your mom's favorite since we opened Curate.
Oh yeah, it's definitely my mom's favorite. Sure, at the restaurant.
You always know somebody that's telling you, like, I love your Bravas, you know what I mean? It's always somebody, you know. So I love it.
Okay, so I actually brought both. I don't know if you can see the light is not so good here. This is the Garnacha from Rioja.
We can see the color difference.
Yeah, it's a little deeper.
It's the light here is not so good, so it's very shiny, but I'm putting it like this in an angle so you see. So both of them, and yeah, they're you know, this is super cool, liquid geography. We are thinking that in the future there will be more liquid geography wines donating to different causes that are important to the world. This is the first year that we added one more, and we're currently talking to a foundation in Cape Cod that supports oyster farmers, and we are contemplating the idea of having one more liquid geography to support this foundation that helps oyster farmers, no, in that community of Wellfleet in Cape Cod. And the other label that we have here is Cortijo. This is from Rioja. This is really hard to see, but I don't even see it by looking at the screen. But this is from Rioja. We have been importing Cortijo for almost 18 years now into the US. And this is a vibrant young Tempranillo from Rioja. Has like 6 months in oak, but it's all about the youth, the freshness, the spice of Tempranillo. Soft tannins, you know, very lively, fresh Tempranillo from Rioja. So we can, if you like, talk about the third wine. To me, out of these three wines, the Cortijo is the one that hits all the buttons. There is something about pimentón, paprika, smoked paprika, and Tempranillo that is a perfect match. You know, this is a match made in heaven. When you connect these two ingredients, tempranillo with smoked paprika, you have an incredible, you know, magical experience. It's very expansive. Um, it's beautiful acidity, which also lifts all your taste buds are super open with that acidity of the wine. Then, you know, you can taste more the paprika, the tomato, the smoky aspect. To me, you know, I don't know if any of you here are having cortijo tinto, but you know, cortijo tinto goes with anything that has paprika. You know, chorizos with paella. With, you know, people say that paella can never be made with chorizos. I make it with chorizos because I love it and has more flavor. And you know, tempranillo. What do you say? What do you say to that,
I'm
Felix?
from Spain, so you know, like.
Thank you for giving the world permission.
Some people, you know, will kill you, you know, if you don't. So I'm sure that some of the people listening here are already killing me, but it's good. I recommend it, you know.
So I agree with you. I think the Cortijo, the Rioja wine, is the one that is complementing the dish better. And when I do these pairings, I'm not only looking for the technical stuff that you very well mentioned about the ingredients and the notes and everything, but I'm also looking at for the time of the year that we are, for the weather this outside. And I think when I see this dish, it's very rustic, it's very comfortable dish. And this is what you get in this wine. You know, you get all this comfort, you get all these rustics, and I think they're going very well together. It's kind of starting to get cold outside, so I'm really enjoying it. You know, with the Bravas.
Yeah, the spice, no, of
Yeah,
tempranillo.
the spice, the dark fruit, you know, the smokiness, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the beautiful texture too. The tannins are soft. You know, they're not, because it's a young tempranillo is not so much oak age, and as a result, it's not so oaky. And when you have oaky wines, you have also more this dry component, and this is more soft, which goes well with the softness of the potatoes. You know, it's not a tannic wine, and I think that also helps a lot.
Is this Alberto, no? Alberto Orte, no?
See, Alberto actually makes the three wines that we're tasting today. The Nórtico he makes in Portugal, and then Liquid Geography, both Liquid Geographies and Cortijo. So
I get the pleasure to meet Alberto a few times, and it's just an amazing winemaker, but also an amazing person. So
he's incredible. He's my best friend and a wonderful human being, very prolific. You know, he makes 40 wines and has 6 children and 2 wineries, 3 vineyards. I mean, this is the most prolific human being I know. And
I think, you know what I think? I think it's the perfect wine when you've decided to make fried potatoes and wine your dinner for the night. That's how we're enjoying it. It's perfect.
I know what I'm doing after this. We're gonna put this back in gallery view and have a little round table. Thank you everyone for sharing your thoughts on wine, not just Felix and Patrick, but so many great comments. It looks like from our poll, Cortijo was the winner by just a little bit, and we've just had so many people saying how much they love Curate and how they always work it into their visit when they're in Asheville, myself included. We just want to hear from Sam. He's going to tell us just a little bit about maybe what's coming next, and we'll drop one more time that link into the chat box. And we also want to talk to everyone, answer any more questions you have, and invite you to our next food and wine pairing session, which is going to be completely different from this. So we want to tell you a little bit about that. And we also want to attempt to get all of you who are attending on camera. So we'll wrap up and then we'll do a little experiment and make all of you panelists, so you can put yourself on video and we can do a toast and you can wave hello to Chef. But we know Zoom can be a little temperamental, so we want to finish the program and then we'll try that. So just want to say thanks to everyone. Hear another word from Sam about World Central Kitchen, where you can donate if you've been inspired by learning about them tonight. We're going to be sending a follow-up email to everybody with all of the information, all the links that you need, where to get this cookbook, where to buy the sauces, where to find these wines if you didn't get to taste all of them this evening, and where to find our next Ole and Obrigado experience. And please keep dropping those questions in the chat. I love how many of you use sweet potatoes on these bravas, so congrats and thank you.
Thank you all so much. I've learned so much. I'm gonna definitely make bravas this weekend. I really appreciate all your support, watching the comments. So thank you all. Thank you, Ole and Obrigado. If you want to check out more about our work, World Central Kitchen, wck.org. Keep an eye out for what we're doing with the polls. It's a kind of a partner organization or a partner structure that we're working with. So that's chefsforthepolls.org. We're creating more of an infrastructure with a few partners on that. So check out wck.org, chefsforthepolls.org, follow along with our work, follow Jose. He's got a couple big months ahead of him now that he's back in the States. He spent the summer in Spain, but he's been traveling around. So just keep an eye on what he's doing and on what our team's doing. And thank you all so much.
I would also like to say, Sam, that so far with Liquid Geography this year, we've raised over $42,000, and we're donating 1/3 of all the profits to the World Central Kitchen. We're also helping Willing Forward in New York. It's a foundation that helps people with disabilities, and also the TJ Martell Foundation for Cancer Research. So those are the three foundations that we support, and that's $14,000 and counting, no, for the World Central Kitchen.
Gracias, Patrick. It's so wonderful. It's so amazing to hear that, and to everybody on this call right now, the little donation helps. I mean, every single thing, every dollar is a meal that people can eat after a crisis or after a disaster. So thank you all.
And I'm not Felix or Kay, but they're not promoting their book. I'm gonna promote it for them. This is an incredible resource for wonderful recipes for Spanish food. I was actually this morning, I was very inspired about today, and I made the
huevos rotos, I saw it.
The huevos rotos, sí, huevos estrellados. I made that slightly different from what you have in the recipe, but I was inspired and
They look great.
And yeah, so I think that maybe Lara can put the link of where people can buy this book for some of you that don't have it. If there's no link, you can go to the Curate website. I highly recommend. Also, Katie and Felix do these incredible trips to Spain. They bring very few couples for a few trips, 8 couples, or I don't know, Felix.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And they visit wineries, they visit great restaurants. So they're great ambassadors of things that have to do with Spain, and so that all you can find in the Curate website. So highly recommend you go there. And yeah, thank you all of you for being here. This is our first time doing this. We would like to do 3 episodes every season, highlighting pairings and great chefs, great winemakers, and we're very happy and proud to see so many of you here, and we hope you like it, and we hope to continue doing them and exposing you to some of the greatest chefs in America and winemakers and wine and pairings moving forward.
Yasmin's going to tell you about what comes next.
Yeah. So just a little preview about what's next for us. I mean, our intention with this series was really to create and share authentic experiences for foodies and wine lovers, and everyone's going to be different. So today the theme was Patatas Bravas and how to pair. Our next tasting is going to be on October 15th. It's going to be completely different. We're going to be focusing on, the theme is mountain wines and mushrooms, and we're really, really excited to partner with one of our close friends. She's a she's a fan of Ole Obrigado, who's a great supporter, Katja Charnagel. She's the chef sommelier at Le Bernardin, which is a 3 Michelin star restaurant in New York City. And it's going to be fun. We're going to be trying a recipe from an Austrian sommelier from a French restaurant. It's one of her favorite dishes from home. It's going to be venison with a spetzel and mushrooms. And we're really excited, and we hope you tune in. And we're looking forward to a pipeline of other guests, and each one, like Aaron mentioned, is going to feature a different cause that's near and dear to us. So for our next session, we're going to be spotlighting City Harvest, which is closely affiliated with Le Bernardin, because actually Chef Eric Repair of Le Bernardin is on the board at City Harvest. So we were really excited to kind of tie the two together. They are one of the largest food rescue organizations. They're based in New York City. So we're really, really excited to kind of bring all these things together for a good cause. And we're looking forward to hopefully seeing you all there.
Thank you so much. We're so excited. From all of us at Ole and Obrigado, we're just thrilled to have kicked this off this evening, not just with our wonderful guests, but with all of you who are on this call. We're gonna try to switch you on, see if we can make you panelists if you want to join us and just wave on video. It is a manual process, so it's just gonna take a minute, but we should start seeing some more videos popping up in just a sec. So as you come on screen, please wave and say hello. Since Patrick didn't say it, I will do it for him. We also want to say that we're so honored. We were just awarded Importer of the Year from Wine and Spirits magazine, announced yesterday, and I can't think of a better way to celebrate than having this wonderful event full of food and drink with new friends from, as far as I can tell, all over the US. Tonight, yeah, show off your dishes if you can. We are slowly but surely adding some of you, and if you've got your wine, if you've got your dish, you don't have to put yourself on camera, of course, if you don't want. But please wave and say hello. Just clicking through, there's so many people, it's taking a minute. I love seeing all your smiling faces. Patrick, is there anything else you want to tell people about while I'm clicking away here?
I want to say that, you know, this award of Importer of the Year, no, our goal since 21 years ago has been to import artisanal wines from Spain and Portugal. And thanks to all of you here, no, we have received this award. We don't take full credit. We like to share, you know, this award with all of you, and you're all a part of it. And also all the producers that we represent, they're the ones. This is really a tribute to them and to their work. And thanks to you, we have you know, we can communicate this.
We'll say hello.
Well, cheers to everyone. Cheers. So many familiar faces. I can see a lot of Patatas Bravas everywhere. Yeah. Alisa, how are you? This is great.
Well, thank you all so much. We're just thrilled. At this point, we're just happy that you're here. It might get noisy, it might get crazy, and that's, you know, what we expect with family dinners. So just thanks for being here. Thank you all again. We recommend that you check out our social media at Ole Obrigado on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We've got a newsletter if you want to learn more about what's coming next. We've got a little party that we're throwing for this Wine and Spirits Importer of the Year recognition. So if you want to be invited, you should probably sign up for our email list. That's what we recommend. And outside of that, we wish all of you a happy fall. Cheers. Thank you all. See you next time.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it so much. It's been so fun hanging out with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, baby. Thank you so much.
Katie and Felix, bye.
Hey, Julie.
All right, bye.
Julie, Lori.
Bye, bye. I see Gretchen Thomas here.
Yeah, I see Nicolas, I see Molly.
This is great.
So wonderful.
So good to see you guys. Thank
Thanks,
you. It was
everyone.
really fun.
Hey,
Yeah,
this is great.
That's cool.
All right, Felix.
Yeah,
This was
no?
great. This was fantastic, man.
Guys, this was great. Thank you.
Well,
This was so good.
into Zoom.
We have to do the pulpo, the octopus, the Galician style octopus, right?
Yeah,
Por
right.
favor. That'd be so-
I like that with a light mencia. So good. Sí, 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 exactly.
We will look forward to seeing all of you again for sure. Thanks, Sam.
Awesome.
Thank you all so much for
Thank you
coming.
all so much.
Pulpo
con
mencia.
Thank you all.
It's amazing. You should definitely try it. Pulpo con mencia. Wow.
I've never tried that.
Makes
It's
sense.
good. It's really good. With a portela, pulpo, so good.
Yeah.
We have to do that. We have to do that.
I love it.
That's
All right,
great.
everybody. Have a great night.
Cheers.
Thank you,
Good night,
Sam.
everyone.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you,
Thanks
Felix.
all.
Hi, Nick.
Bye.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Felix. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks so much.
Thanks, all. Have a great night.
Thank
Cheers. Good to see you, Katie. Be well.
Bye.